This video is sort of an initial guide to transform you as the stereotypical nerd into someone more attractive. Thing is, the video will be split into 3 categories of where you can improve yourself and what you need to work on specifically. And the thing is, many of these things will require some serious time. Years perhaps. But the thing is, if you never start, you'll never become better. You'll never become as attractive as you could be. And that's a shame, because you wouldn't be living up to your potential. And so, the first category of improvement, of which I think is perhaps the most important, is your mentality. The first point is confidence. Everyone says confidence is the most important thing. You gotta be confident, bro. You gotta demonstrate your confidence. And in this part, I'll be telling you how to actually do that. How to actually put into action, how to increase your confidence. So, you can drastically increase your confidence in as little as 30 days. I can guarantee that. Absolutely guaranteed. You can. And no, I'm not going to sell you anything. It's not going to be some magical product. Oh, you take this pill. Make sure to drink 5 cups of water every single day, and then you'll be confident. No. It's something not sellable. It's purely up to yourself. It's purely up to you to do it. I can tell you to do it, but it's still your choice. It's your decision. Every single day. For 30 days, that is. But before getting into that, confidence is the sort of belief that you can handle a task and its consequences. The latter part, the consequence part, is key. And so confidence can be in the form of whether you're confident in talking to that cute girl, or you're confident in your abilities to finish an assignment. The thing is, most dudes are confident, I would say, in their video game skills, I would say, but not in talking to girls. So why is there such a difference, right? Like, you're confident while playing video games, but you're not confident in speaking to a woman. Why is that? I would say it's different, right? I would say there's circumstantial confidence in a way. You're so practiced with video games that it's become natural to you, in a way. You have developed confidence in it because you've practiced for so long. On the other hand, you most likely haven't talked to many girls. You haven't had nearly as much practice. Therefore, it's unfamiliar. You're uncomfortable, most likely. And you're unconfident with that. And so if you look at the problem like that, as just practice precedes confidence, there's an easy solution. And that is literally just practice talking to girls. Specifically, I would say cold approaching is the best to build up your confidence, because it really puts you on the spot. It's adrenaline spiking, it's tough. But it's the best way. It's the absolute best way. I would say the goal for cold approaches in general, in this context, isn't to get any success really. It's to get rejected every single time. And I don't mean that as in you do some creepy shit to a girl and then she rejects you. I mean, you try, but you're kind of secretly hoping for rejection, in a way. But I think that's a mindset that most people won't have, and therefore you'll most likely be cold approaching girls with the hope that she doesn't reject you. And that's fine too, as long as you do it and you build up the resilience. Because the thing is with confidence is that what builds up confidence isn't actually succeeding. It's not when you have been accepted by girls. No, I don't know what's the opposite of rejection? Something. But it's not when you are accepted by girls or girls give you their phone number and they agree to go on a date with you. That's not what builds confidence. It's failing the cold approaches. It's when you get rejected by girls. That's what builds confidence, because you are learning that you can survive the rejection. You can survive the consequence of this action. And eventually you'll think, this is nothing to me. Some Stoic philosopher said, of which I forgot his name, I'm sorry, this is nothing to me. He said this is like, in some dire circumstance, you're just, this is nothing to me. This external, this is nothing to me. And eventually that's what you'll think when you do this enough. And currently it might be unfathomable to you right now. Like, just even thinking about approaching a girl on the street and I don't even know her. I can't do it. Like, I don't even know how to even go up to her. I don't even know what's the right angle. Like, how do I go up to her so that I'm not creepy? Do I like tap her shoulder? Do I wave? Do I say hi? What do I do? It's okay. You may not think that you can do it now, but you can do it. You don't get the masters in League on your first day. You practice, you play, you keep on practicing, you learn. That's how you get to masters in League. It's the same thing. This is a skill that's you need to level up. Right? This is a skill that you can practice to get better at. This is a skill where you can literally gain experience points. Perhaps not quantitatively, but from every experience you can think, what did I do that was not in my favor? What could I have done better? And there'll also be situations where you did your best and well, she just wasn't interested. You can't do anything about that. So to begin, I'm going to be starting with, say that you are the most shut-in person ever who hasn't approached a single girl, who hasn't talked to a single girl in their entire life. Alright, that's fine. The first step is to just be in close proximity with girls. Right? Get used to just being around them. You don't even need to talk to them. You don't even need to engage with them. But you need to get used to being around them. And eventually you want to get to the point where you can hold eye contact with them. That's the point where you can move on to the next level. That's when you gain enough experience. And then after that, once you're on to the next level, right? You want to start with possible small talk. Doesn't need to be about her. You can comment on something at the grocery store, like, oh, the eggs are way more expensive now than they were like a few weeks ago or something, or they raised the price on something. Just something small. Just commenting. Just talking. Just regular talking. Regular people talking. And then once you're comfortable doing that, now it's the next level where you progress about talking about her specifically. For example, I like your coat. I like your shirt. I like your sunglasses. Whatever it is, something about it. It doesn't need to be a compliment, but it's certainly most beneficial if you want to spark interest. And so once you're comfortable with that, once you're confident in yourself for doing that, the next level is asking her personal questions. And for all of these, it doesn't need to be the same person. You can like eventually level up. You can go to different people for different levels. It doesn't need to be with just one girl. You're doing all of this. Right? It doesn't. She's dressed in a suit, and she's waiting in line. You can ask her, "Oh, what event are you going to?" Something personal, something about her that's more than the surface level. That like, oh, I like this physical thing about you. This is something a little more deep in a way. And once you're comfortable asking questions about her specifically, then this is the part where you can introduce yourself. Hey, I'm blank. What's your name? And so starting conversation could be like, oh, I like your tie. What event are you going to? And then she says, oh, thank you. I'm going to a business meeting. And then, you can introduce yourself or you can ask more questions. You can go into, oh, what kind of business is it? What company is it? Or whatever. Or you can just go straight into, hey, my name is blank. What's your name? Although that would be a little awkward. But you can do that as starting off. And this is all about just being more comfortable just talking to women. Because I'm assuming that you have no experience talking to women. So you're going to need to get experience somehow. And this doesn't need to be like random people. This can literally be anywhere. Like you can talk to a grocery cashier. Otherwise you'd be standing there. Might as well, right? It's finding the places where it's super easy to do. Right? When you're going to get groceries, it's super easy to just talk to the cashier for a bit. Instead of going out of your way, going on the streets and trying to talk to women who are most likely busy and not going to pay you any attention. Now, onto that. Once you've gotten to the level that you can introduce yourself, now it's really about maintaining a conversation. Right? You want to be able to talk to a woman for like more than like, I would say like 5 minutes. Right? 5 minutes is a general good cutoff. Good cutoff. And how you do this is you ask her more questions. You can have a general idea of like her on a certain day, like what she's wearing, and you can sort of compliment her on a certain article of clothing, and then you can ask a question about why she's wearing that, or where she got it from, or whatever. And then depending on her answers, you can use that information to further ask more questions. So for example, if I see a woman wearing aviators, I also have aviators, and I think they are pretty good looking, I can ask her, I can tell her, I really like your aviators. Where did you get them from? Oh, and then she's like, oh, thank you. I just got them from Amazon. It was like $10. And you're like, oh, really? Like, same though. Like, honestly, like, aviators from Ray-Bans are like too expensive for me. But like Amazon, like, they look the same, and honestly, that's all I want. And it's like using the information that they give to you to comment, to ask more questions, to make a conversation, essentially. And this conversation should be friendly, right? You don't want to be like, yeah, I like those aviators you have. Yeah, oh, you got them from Amazon? Nice. I mean, I also have aviators from Amazon. That's just kind of monotone, but like, you want to be friendly, you want to be a little upbeat. And so once you can have conversation with girls like this is the part where you actually really step it up a notch. This is the part where you actually cold approach women now. You have all the tools you need. You can introduce yourself. You can compliment her based on observations. You can hold a conversation with women. And now you're adding an indicator of interest on top of cold approach. So the indicator of interest is basically some phrase or sentence that tells her that you're interested in her. Interested in either being friends or more. But I mean, I would say most girls can pick up that really easily because they've been conditioned to. The most obvious is, can I get your number? Like, that's pretty obvious to a girl. Or are you free to grab coffee? Do you want to get dinner? These are all indicators of interest, and it will tell her that you are interested in her. And she will know. You don't need to explicitly tell her, I like you. Do you want to? No, that's middle school, right? You want to be more subtle. And so you want to do this with cold approaching. And you want to cold approach as many women as you possibly can within 30 days. And if you do that, your confidence will skyrocket. And once again, I want to reiterate that your confidence will not grow because of how many successes you get, but of the failures that you get. The amount of failures that you get past. You get rejected once, okay. You go again at it. You keep on getting rejected until it doesn't matter anymore. Right? You approach this girl, and it doesn't matter if she rejects me or not. I've already been rejected. Like, the pain is numbed. I'm used to it now. It doesn't matter to me. It's nothing to me. That's the point where you want to get to. And this part is really hard because it hurts. Like, every single time a woman rejects you, it's sort of like nature telling you that you are not fit enough to germinate your seed. You are not attractive enough. That's basically what girls tell you. And you may not register that in your higher brain, but your lizard brain really knows. It knows. Rejection hurts. It hurts a lot. But if you can get through the 30 days, if you can constantly go at it again and again, you will get it. You will get the confidence. You will. I guarantee that. On the other hand, if this isn't for you, I'm not saying that there's an alternative method that will raise your confidence nearly as well, but there are other ways to help increase your confidence. And that one thing is going to the gym, which I will explain later in the physicality section. The second thing is acceptance. Part of being confident in yourself is having an identity and not being shaken up by other people's thoughts, opinions, and whatnot. The thing is, during your teenage years, you're literally discovering who you are as a person. You are forming your identity, which is why you are so malleable around that time. It's why mentors around your teenagers are so valuable and will determine who you will become. If you have bad mentors, it's so much more likely that you become a quote bad person than if you had good mentors. And so if you're a teen right now, you're quite nerdy. Does that mean you need to completely abandon your nerd identity? Perhaps, if you wish to. But I think more than likely, that won't really do much. You'll just go from identity to identity. You'll be identity hopping. And if you keep on doing that, you won't ever accept your identity. And you'll never be confident in it. You would instead be running away from what you enjoy to do. If you enjoy looking at the stars, more power to you, bro. Like, that's your habit. That's your thing. Alright, man. That's your thing. But if you feel insecure that, other people may think this is nerdy, and therefore you say, oh, I don't care about that anymore. You're just throwing something you enjoy away. I think that's tragic. It's a shame. And rather and once you do that, you'll be feeling miserable, and you'll feel like an imposter. Because you're, on the exterior, you're liking, things that other people like, what the popular kids like. Oh, this song, or this artists, or these artists. But on the inside, you just want to look at some stars. Instead, I say to you, accept those qualities. Accept them. They are a part of you. Be proud of them. Because the thing is, when anyone tries to attack you on those qualities, if you have accepted that part of you, if you are already so sure about yourself in that aspect, any attack to that is ineffective. It's like using a ground type move against a flying type Pokemon. Like, no damage. Misses completely. It does nothing. Poison against steel. Nothing. It's got nothing on me. But what if you are in your identity shaping years? Perhaps you've solidified your identity as a nerd and a loser. What do you do now? You must redefine yourself. But the thing is, because you're already past those years, you sort of have an identity built already. You sort of have foundations already built. And it's really more about just changing skins. Switching out the windows, changing the paint, painting over certain things. It's really taking a different perspective now, and therefore changing your identity with that. And this means reflecting and actively changing your own thoughts about yourself. And so you may have thoughts like, I'm a nerd, but I'm attractive as well. Or I suck at some things, but I excel at others. I suck at this, but I also didn't practice for it. It's about changing your perspective on certain things, and that will change your identity. And by changing your identity and accepting your identity, you become more confident, you become more sure of yourself, you'll become a better person. You become a more attractive person. So the third and final thing for the mentality section is being present. So many times we are talking to an attractive girl, and then we're thinking about, how we said that one phrase, and that was a wrong phrase, I quoted the wrong person, or the way I said that word, that was so bad, that was cringe, oh no. That's not being present. And to make a good impression on anyone, you gotta be present. You have to be focused on the here and now, instead of what already happened, or what could be happening. I demonstrated an example of what you could be thinking about the past, but you can also be thinking about the future. Like, what if I screw this up? What if I say something stupid next? What if I don't know what to say? What if there's silence? You gotta be present. For this entire thing, it's really about control. Like, you don't know how she's going to react. And the thing is, you can't know what's happening in her mind until you go down that rabbit hole. And on the contrary, if you try to know what she's thinking about, you're pretty much done. Like, you do that, and the conversation with her will die. You will do terribly. Straight up. You will. And so to help you be more present, the absolute best thing to help you be more present is to meditate. I think meditation is presented as something super esoteric, and it's the things that monks do. It's not And normal people don't. Normal people don't do that. But it's not that complicated. Like, really, it's not. Meditation at its fundamental sense is staying present and focusing your mind. And it's most commonly done by using your breath, controlling your breath, focusing in on your breath. I'll give you two basic meditations. One of them is alternating nostril breathing. And what it looks like is basically you breathe in one side. So basically what you're gonna collapse one nostril. You're gonna breathe in, and then you're gonna collapse the nostril that you breathed in with. You're gonna switch, and then you're gonna breathe out with the other nostril, and then you're gonna breathe in with the same nostril, and then you're gonna switch, breathe out on the other nostril, and you're just gonna repeat that over and over and over again. And that's the meditation basically. You just focus on your breath. You just focus on the switches, getting them right, and focusing on your breath. The second is a body scan. And a body scan is basically you breathe. It's mostly done when you're laying down. So you can do this like before bed. You can do this after you wake up. And basically you just lay there. You close your eyes. You breathe in and out, in and out. You do like normal breathing, or you do slow breathing, and then you just think about the sensations in your foot first. Right. Think about the sensation in your foot, and then your ankle, and then your shin and calf, and then your knee, and then your lower thigh, and then your middle thigh, and your upper thigh, and your glutes, and then your lower back, and then your upper back, then your shoulders, your triceps, your forearms, your hands, then your neck, and then your head. And so basically you just go up and you just really focus in on what you're sensing physically with your body. Like if I'm on my bed and I start off with my feet, what is my feet touching? Like, can I really focus in and zone in on what my feet are specifically experiencing? Like, can I really feel the bed with my feet in a way? And in this sense, the meditation is basically getting you to get rid of all the noise around what everything else is feeling. Like, obviously you're on a bed, right? So your entire body is going to be feeling the bed, but you want to focus in on your foot specifically, on what your foot is feeling. So those are two meditations. Personally, I use alternating nostril breathing because I can do it seated or laying down. And when you get into meditation, you'll notice that your mind will start to get distracted. And that's a key thing. In fact, that's a good thing. Because the entire purpose of meditation is to train yourself to refocus. Every time your mind gets distracted and you refocus your mind onto your breath or whatever focus you're doing it on, it's like a push-up. It's like practice. Every time you do that, every time you get distracted and then refocus, you strengthen your ability to be focused, become better at it with every single refocusing. As a person, there are, honestly even now, there are times where I will need to refocus maybe 5 to 10 times in one session. It's a lot, but I get better at it. And so with this, you want to start off with 5 minutes a day. And then you want to eventually work up to 20 minutes a day. Right? 5 minutes a day, you may find that you're just dozing off or just thinking about something off every 5 seconds. Start off small. Eventually you can work yourself up to greater lengths of time. And on to the second section, which is physicality. So the stereotypical nerd is it's a skinny dude who doesn't go to the gym. But honestly, I feel like nowadays the nerd is more so the guy who is overweight / obese, who likewise also doesn't go to the gym. But I would just say there's more likely a skew towards the overweight / obese guy than the skinny guy, at least in the modern culture with our highly processed foods. But anyway, the core factor is that the nerd does not exercise at all, or at least the nerd doesn't look like they do. The thing is, no matter if you're a nerd, doctor, lawyer, whatever, your physicality is the first thing people see, and it's extremely important. I mean, besides your face, like, your physical body is, like, very important for attraction, at least within the first 3 seconds of meeting anyone. Like, you or I, we can look at any girl. Within 3 seconds, we can know she's hot. I'll fuck her. She ain't it. I'm not doing anything with her. Or she's meh. Like, it's very fast. And with the girls, it's the same thing. They will have the same sort of initial 3 second like thought, oh, this guy is cute or whatnot. He's physically attractive or whatnot. But they have more factors than that to take into account. But physical appearance is still very important. And as a nerd, you need to go to the gym and train for muscle mass specifically if you want to get a more attractive body. And the thing is, this will take years of your time to really see the gains. But this is perhaps the most important thing to do because it affects everything. Your confidence especially. If you have a good body, if you look good, you'll feel good. That's what it is. To be honest, the entire process is like too long to really tell you in this already long video. But I do have a book. You don't need to buy it, but I have written a book specifically on training. It's in the description below. And well, it'll help you throughout the training process for sure. It's geared towards beginners, mostly, and therefore it's perfect for you. But just for some starting tips, when going to the gym, you want to focus on really a couple muscle groups to be more attractive. It's your arms, your shoulders, your neck, your chest, basically all the beach body muscles. Right. The things that you show off on a beach. Chest, abs, arms, shoulders, neck. And neck is kind of odd one now, but it really helps. Like, it really helps a lot. And so what you want to stick to is really the 8 to 15 rep ranges. Right, so you can be like 8 to 12, 10 to 15, just more mid to high rep ranges for your exercises, for muscle growth specifically. And on the other half, there's the nutrition side. If you're fat, you need to lose weight through a calorie deficit. It's as simple as that. You need to consume less calories than you burn. That's it. If you're skinny, gain weight through a calorie surplus. Eat more calories than you're burning. It's a simple equation at the end of the day. And so all throughout this, you want to be building muscle in the gym. So while you're either losing weight or gaining weight, you want to get in your protein. Right, so around 0.6 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. I would say 0.6 if you're bulking, 1 gram if you're cutting. So that was the physicality of your entire body. Next is your face. If you have stubble, shave it. If you can't grow a full beard and you've been really trying to, stop. It looks much better to be clean shaven than someone with patches of hair in their face. It's just what it is. Not everyone can grow a beard. Number 2 is to get a face wash. Like if you don't wash your face with something to cleanse the acne on your face, get a face wash and really reduce that acne. Like use it every single day. And then hairstyle. This isn't very complicated either, but it really is up to you. It's like very experimental. My advice is to like go to the barber and basically ask them, what hairstyle would look best on me, and basically use them as a resource. Or you can just look up hairstyles online and see which one you like, which one that might look good on you. You can also consult your barber. Like you can tell them, would this hairstyle look good on me? Or you can just consult anyone really. But I would say going to your barber and asking them is probably the best thing. Next is jawline. And this is associated with fitness. Because if you aren't at a low enough body fat percentage, you won't have a good jawline. It's as simple as that. And so if you're too fat, lose weight once again. And so the last part is dress. This is also up to yourself. I would say the best way to really dress good, to look good, is to just look up on the internet people who dress well and then just copy them. It's really not that hard. I mean, you can develop your own sense of style from like that template that you looked up online. So you can like sort of deviate, you can add pieces of clothing or whatnot. Or you can basically choose what kind of style you want to have and then select clothing yourself. This is definitely more work, and the first method is much easier if your sole goal is to be more attractive. I want to note that good dress does not mean very expensive clothes. Rather, in fact, most expensive clothing is quite unfashionable. Like Supreme, disgusting. Bro, no, stop. That's high school stuff. Stop it. You can dress very well in cheap clothing. And it's been done numerous times by people. You can do it. In general, you want to select neutral colors that can go with a lot of other colors, like black, white, khaki, navy blue, brown, gray, etc. Neutral colors. For shirts specifically, don't buy shirts with big ass crazy logos on them. Like just don't. Like simple logos, small logos, no logos at all. Those work the best. Simple is best. Jewelry is optional. It depends on your own style, but it could really help or break the entire thing. So you want to be pretty careful with jewelry. The third and final aspect is sociability. In general, being more present will help you with this. I'm speculating here, but you've most likely been objectifying women for a good 5 years. Because if you're a guy, you've been naughty. Yes, you've been naughty. So it's going to be hard to look at women as actual people, but they are actual people. Like, they're more than just the figures and body parts on a screen. They're more than just the lustful creatures that you may think they are. They are people. They shit. They piss. They vomit blood from certain areas of their bodies. I don't mean this to make women absolutely disgusting, but I think it helps with acknowledging that women are people. They fart. They smell. They shit. They go to the bathroom and such. Some of them can be a little disgusting in their eating habits. Some of them are more messy. Some of them are cleaner. They're people like us. They're just as imperfect, with many flaws. No matter how much they want to cover it up with makeup, with social media, just highlighting the best aspects of their life, no matter how much they try to cover it up, they are imperfect. And you should acknowledge that. I know it's hard because you probably haven't interacted with many women in your life, and that's probably why you may hold women up on a pedestal and think, oh, she's absolutely amazing, she's gorgeous, but she's a person. And the more you treat her as a person, the better it'll be for you. In terms of the actual sociability part, the first part is listening. A big part of listening is asking questions. Getting her to talk more about herself. Because everyone likes to talk about themselves. Everyone. But I think girls especially do. Girls just love to talk. And if you can get them to talk, they will love you. So, questions like, can you tell me more about that? What did you mean by this? Or how did you feel about this? All these questions are sort of expanding on her thoughts, her feelings, and whatnot. Just basically getting her to talk more about the current subject. And the thing is with asking questions is that by asking questions on the subject that they're talking about, it makes you appear that you are interested in it. And certainly there are times where I'm not exactly very interested in it, but I will go through the motions anyway because it's sort of a common courtesy of mine. But people can pick up on that. People can still pick up on the sort of fakeness of it. So I would say it's much better to pick a topic or talk about a topic that you are also interested in, and then asking questions where you're genuinely interested in her answers. Another part of listening is summarizing. This makes the other person feel heard. So she says an entire paragraph and whatnot. And then, you just take out the big parts and then you say, oh, this made you feel that, this happened, and that. And then you just basically repeat it to them and, she'll feel heard. And I wouldn't use exactly the same words. If you need to, that's fine. But you really want to summarize it with your own words to really show that you are understanding what she is saying. The thing is with both of these things aren't really part of listening, because when you think about listening, it's oh, you're just quiet. But This is active listening. Besides just sitting there and listening with your ears, asking questions and summarizing her points, that is what distinguishes good listeners from bad listeners. Another is expressing emotions. For the most part, women like funny guys. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, I think that everyone likes being around a funny person. Funny people are just more attractive, in general, I think. I think most people think that way as well. So being funny, telling jokes, I highly recommend that you watch comedians. You watch comedians do their set to get really a sense of how they develop their own sense of comedy. I don't tell you to do this so that you can just copy their jokes. You can do it for some, but you sort of need to write your own material. This can be in your alone time, or it can also be on the spot. But either way, you need to practice learning to tell jokes to become funny, if you aren't already. And once again, the most important part of this is practice. You just gotta practice. It's always with practice. Everything you do is with practice. That's how you get good at it. But more than just being funny, more than just having that aspect of emotions, you want to be able to express all of your emotions. You don't want to be a stonewall all the time. And I know a lot of the time it's just that you're nervous, You're nervous and your brain freezes up and you just sit there and stare and your mind is racing, you're sweating, your heart's beating really fast. And then you just can't do anything. In those cases, it's really just about exposure. You really just need to expose yourself more, and while you're exposing yourself to situations where you're talking to girls, you're being really nervous, you really want to focus on your breathing. You want to focus on calming yourself down. Of course, within a couple minutes, you should probably say something. Of course, and the first couple times it's not going to be pretty, but you'll get better over time. You will get better. And so the third is keeping the conversation going. And this sort of ties into listening. Active listening will really help you with keeping conversations going. We all know those times when a conversation basically goes silent, nobody has any more thoughts to speak. It's like the conversation died, basically. And while I do want to acknowledge that some silence in a conversation is normal, and you don't need to constantly be talking or listening, but you also don't want the conversation to completely die either. And so the best thing you can do is to actively listen, to remember the topics that you're speaking about, and then touch on them later, right? So if you talk about sports, right, if you're both interested in sports, but if you move on to something else like books, you can come back and ask questions about sports again if you're done talking about books. So it's really just about using the material that she gives you, that she talks about, that she's interested in, and therefore you formulate your own sort of conversation plan around that. And that is how you can keep the conversation going, even if you finish talking about a certain subject. And I need some water, bro. Fucking throat is dry. Number 4 is good old flirting. This is when you can listen, you're funny, and you can keep conversations going. So you need those 3 first before you get into this. And so what flirting basically is, it's adding banter, it's adding some playfulness, it's adding some teasing. And really can be about anything. It doesn't need to be sexual at all. You don't need to start off being, oh, I like the way you eat that pickle. That's kind of awkward. But it doesn't need to be explicitly sexual. It can just be playing and joking with each other. And this is especially important if you want to be more attractive. Men who can flirt with women and who can do it well, yeah, it's game over, bro. Just game over. The pussy's been had. But the thing is, the skills you've already mastered, hopefully, will help you tremendously in this. Which is why I hold being funny, being able to listen, and being able to hold a conversation going as the requirements before you go into any flirting. And truthfully, you've definitely already flirted before. You've definitely flirted with the boys. Like, come on. It's like you've definitely just been messing around, joking with each other, and just teasing each other. Like, in a sense, that's sort of flirting, in a way. It's just it's just slightly different when you go to women, right? You can still joke around, you still tease around. That's flirting. But the thing is, with girls, we will get flustered, we'll get nervous, and therefore we no longer have the calmness and comfortability that allows us to flirt like with our boys. And so once again, the important part is keeping a cool head. And practice will definitely help with this. Specifically, if you have any female friends, or if you can make some female friends from just a cold approaching, you can practice with them. Or with your guy friends, if any are willing. I would say the former with female friends is much better because it's more specific. You're literally talking to a girl. You're literally practicing with a girl. So I would say that is much better than practicing with the boys. And that was it. If you've made it all this way, thank you. It's been a long time recording this. I hope you've learned something from this. I hope that you can improve yourself on this. I hope that you can really take these into thought and consideration and really put it into action, because it won't help you if you just listen to this. And towards that, the earlier you start all of these, the better you'll become. If you're in high school and you start right now, by the time you get to college, you'll be incomparable to other people your age. You will be a master at conversations with girls. You'll be much more attractive than, of course, the stereotypical nerd, but perhaps also the chads there. And this is only a brief overview of everything that I can suggest right now. There's a lot more to discuss. And for now, I have other videos detailing certain aspects, explaining a lot more. But in the future, I'll be making more detailed videos for specifically each pillar. So look out for them.